What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today at the request of Flower Child. Really, it's probably good to just talk about it anyways, but here we are looking at it. I might start long term and then go into the short term. Okay, so I don't know why that blue line's there. I know why this red line's here, but it's not drawn too accurately, is it? Maybe it was before I ever switched to a 10. I don't know why it was there like that, but something like that. So we are a bit of a ways away from that line. We could see some stupendous growth. Definitely be in the above 100,000, maybe even above 200,000 by the time we hit that, if we were to go up there in a nonstop trajectory. Now, essentially, every time we've interacted with this line, we've been near the cycle highs, right? We'll just put some lines there at each month's cycle high. Actually, I suppose the cycle high would have been this month, wouldn't it? Let me see. 1242 on that month, and then here 1240, so it was the green month there. Okay. Here, no doubt, and then last cycle, who could forget, right there. Okay, so this, obviously, the slanted line is where the highs come in, the trajectory of where this might find resistance. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I would kind of expect it to. In fact, let's change the colors so that it kind of makes more sense. But you can see here, right, that at the high points near this white line, this is the only time that we didn't top off a bull market there, but to be fair, we at least hit the white line first. But more or less, every single cycle we've had 1, 2 drives up here. We've had 1, and then we correct, and then 2. 1, and then we correct, and then 2. 1, and then we correct, and then 2. 1, and we corrected, and then 2. It just didn't hit that white line. And again, if you look at the last cycle, guys, there's a lot. I've been saying this, and everyone has their own theories, but I really do feel like last cycle was held back. It was not a normal cycle. It's not that this cycle, and this cycle will be stronger than last cycle, but it's not like this cycle is going to be some impressive, super magnificent cycle that we've just never seen before. It's doing things that we haven't seen before, of course. But I think, in comparison to the last cycle, sure, it's going to be stronger, but I don't think it'll be stronger than this cycle or this cycle or this cycle. It'll definitely be stronger than last cycle, but that's not saying much because this is the only time that we had such a dramatic drop in the monthly RSI in the midst of the bull market, and then we didn't actually get back up to this. We didn't double top at this white line here. So something to keep in mind, the whole reason I went into heavy emphasis on that is I don't expect this outcome to happen. I do expect this to happen, where we will more or less, drive up to this line for the first time here, right? We'll see a month of pullback, maybe a few months of pullback or consolidation or something like that, and then we pull up again. First time we hit it over here, it was 1, 2, 3. I mean, technically we found the high in that month, so we went down that month, but 1, 2, 3 months to find the low, 4, 5 months to continue to consolidate, and then on the 6th month, we looked like we were breaking out to higher prices. And then here as well, I suppose we hit it right here, so only 1 month, but I would kind of more expect something like this this cycle once we get up to that line. So the reason I'm bringing this up, again, just to be clear, if you've hung around for that part, this right now, you guys, is more than what we normally have seen going into bull cycles. Okay, normally what we see is we see an initial run up that gets sold into before the halving, going into the halving even, right? That's what we normally see, because we don't break the all-time highs before the halving. We make a run up for it, but we always find resistance and then pull back. This time we haven't. So we can kind of, the reason I'm focusing so much on the RSI here is because it translates across that, right? First time here, right, out of the overbought zone, came down below the 50. Whenever you got back up, you got into the RSI, but then you pulled back out of it, and then you went up for realsies, right? Next time, you came out of the overbought zone here below the 50 again. Then once you came up, same thing, into the overbought zone a little bit. You actually topped off right around the same area, got out of it, and then the next time you got in, it was for realsies, all right? Here, below the 50 again, got out of the overbought zone, came back up. You didn't quite get into the overbought zone, but you got to it, I would say. So that's still this initial run up in price, right? But it wasn't the real deal, just like this wasn't the real deal, just like this wasn't the real deal, right? And you can see that in price, like this was the beginning half of the bull market, and then the second half, the next time that we got into the overbought zone is when things really took off. This was when we started the bull market, but things really took off once we got that second drive into the overbought zone here. Same thing here. We made it to the overbought zone. We didn't get in it, bull market started, and it depends on how everybody wants to define it, but to me the bull market started here. Once we broke out of this was the start. It was just a kind of boring bull market. It was a very unimpressive bull market. Impressive growth still, but unimpressive for Bitcoin for what it can do. And I've illustrated why I think that happened last cycle in several videos. Essentially, my main theory behind it is it's a culmination of a bunch of things, but specifically revolving around the strength of the dollar. The dollar was going through instances of inflation that it had never seen before, but in comparison to the rest of the world, it actually held up very well. So we saw strength in the dollar. When we see strength in the dollar, we do not see strength in risk-on assets, but that's not the point I'm trying to make here. So second time, again, that's when like the real, like this was strong. This was a strong move up, but this was the stronger move, right? And it happened on that second attempt into the overbought zone. So here, we haven't gotten that. We haven't gotten that first psych out attempt into the overbought zone. We just haven't. We haven't had that. We just went straight through. So I am assuming, you guys, that Bitcoin is more or less on a nonstop train month after month. If it has one red month, okay, whatever. Like this here, whenever it went up, and it was the second time after rejecting here, it went into the overbought zone. It came up, it dipped a little bit, and then it went higher. We can do stuff like that. That's okay. But I don't think that we're going to see any kind of significant sustained drop. We can see a significant drop, but it will not be sustained until we hit this line. This is going to be a very, 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 very crucial line, and I'm going to delete these vertical lines because I just feel like they're distracting now. But you know what they're for. We kind of went over all of that. This is a very heavy emphasis on the monthly RSI. I don't normally go into detail with the monthly RSI because it is so weird. But whenever you have something that's widely respected and just kind of similar cycle to cycle, it's very cyclical in itself, in its nature. I think it's easy, or not easy. I think it's important to take this into consideration. And what is it that I'm trying to get us to take into consideration is the idea that this move for Bitcoin, the actuality of seeing a dramatic pullback that is sustained for Bitcoin, it does happen every single bull cycle. We have a little bit of a pause. Maybe it takes a month, maybe it takes 3 months, 5 months, whatever. But we're not going to get that until we're up here. That's my whole theory. And that could take, from here, that could take 1 to 3 months, if we were to move up like this. Let's see. Just like that, that'd put us out in July, right? If we were to move up faster, okay, sure, but however long it takes, it seems to be on a pretty straight up trajectory, so I feel like that's a little bit conservative of an estimate, but maybe we do something like this where we zigzag in the midst. Who knows? We could be doing that now. The reason why I'm really crediting the idea that we could see a little dip here would be because we're up 7 months in a row on the green side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm not going to go back through the whole history, but Bitcoin's never done that before. We've had 1, 2, 3 here, 4, 5, 6 green months, and then on the 7th month we were red. We topped out on the 7th month. We went higher, but we closed it red. We've never had more than 6 green months in a row. Now, here's the caveat to that. Here's where I think we could get 7 green months here, and potentially even 8, 9. Like, we could continue with several green months from here in a row. We really could. Is that this month here closed relatively neutral. We were up 0.67%. So yes, it was a green month technically, but like really that was like a blue month or whatever color neutral would be, gray month. I don't know. I swear whenever I started, blue used to be the color from neutral, but they don't do that anymore. I swear TradingView used to do that. Like where here you have red and green. If it was 0, I swear it used to be blue, but maybe I'm crazy. But a neutral month, nonetheless. So maybe this does reset the count. We have 1, 2. We could go on for more months. I don't know. That's more of a theory. But the reason I'm starting off with all this bullish stuff is I do think Bitcoin could see more downside, right? I just don't think it's going to be sustained for a long time. Now for a couple weeks, a few weeks, just under a month, sure, it could be. We could close this month red. It is possible. But I wouldn't think, if we close this month red, I wouldn't think we close next month red. That's my general idea. I don't think we're going to get multiple months of consolidation. We're not going to see any kind of stagnant phase until we hit this monthly descending trend line at the top there. It's a theory, but that's kind of what I'm running with. And the main reason for that is I think a lot of people are very ready to see this thing pull back. People want prices below 50K, below 60K. They want them, man. They really want them. And with how bearish things have turned so quickly, I can't help but feel like that might have been the low. Last week, literally not even 24 hours ago, whenever we closed the week, yesterday's low, that might have been it. Now, it isn't a bullish engulfing candle. We don't have higher highs. We don't have higher lows. I guess we do have higher lows technically. Actually, to be completely fair, we do have a lower low in the RSI and a higher low in the price, which is a bullish thing. But we could go lower, is what I'm really trying to get to. That might not be the low, but with the attitude of the markets right now and how everybody's just so certain, you hear a lot of these big accounts talking about how they're in really big shorts right now. It makes me wonder if we will continue to go down. I know, and I'm not trying to throw shade on anybody, but Carl from the Moon yesterday or the day before was talking about a short trade that he was in and how it was like, I think it was 500K short trade or something like that. Nothing big for him. And he was talking about how he was up $5,000, and that was when prices were like down here. So that has to be out of the water. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there are a lot of people who might have caught this short trade scenario at a bad time, and they might be underwater now. I don't know. I'm not looking at that right now. That's kind of speculative in itself. I mean, I guess it can go beyond speculation if you actually look at the what's the word I'm looking for? What is it? The open interest. Yeah, But anyways, where the leverage is, where the short trades and long trades are. But anyways. If we look at this relative low to the high here, there is a good possibility that we could go below 60K. We could go to 58K before this move is done and then continue to run up. However, you take that same low to this high, we didn't even hit our 236. You take that same low to this high, we hit our 236 but didn't hit the 382. Do we need to go to the 382? We haven't needed it this whole time, so I'm inclined to be cautiously bearish. So much so that I'm not even sure if we actually go more below that line. We've got lower lows in the RSI. We actually did bounce right off the 50, which is a very positive look in itself. Lower lows in the RSI, higher lows in price. That's hidden bullish divergence in an uptrend that tends to mark continuation. Continuation being that low here, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Continuation off of these lower or higher highs and higher lows would mean that we just had a higher low. We're going to go form a higher high, which would lead me to believe, I feel like I can't talk today, man, that we're going to go to the 1272 to the 1618. That's going to be our next kind of stopping point, if not higher, if not absolutely higher. We take our last one, for example, this high to low, right, significant kind of top to low area that we had in, what was that, January to February, or no, mid-January to late January. Anyways, we went all the way up to the 2618. We went a little bit past it. Here, I'll delete this so you can see it. A little bit past the 2618, right? And then we just came back to the 2272, closed below it, but closed back above it. Like, this is a really, I should say, tricky look, but resilient look at the same time. Whenever you like psych out like this psych out at the top was probable cause, good enough reasons to believe that prices would go down. But this psych out at the bottom here, if this continues, if we can get another green day today, I would feel very confident that was the low yesterday. And that is a pretty nice move, but for what it is still a lower high. It's not a bullish engulfing candle. The bigger candle was to the red side, and we did not have a lot of volume. There's a lot of things, and I suppose, I guess we can look at, let's see, USDT on Binance. Yeah, not a lot of volume, not above average or anything like that. But so what? Maybe the volume would probably come in, especially if we broke these highs. There'd probably be a lot of volume that comes in. I think tomorrow will be, or I guess today. Right now we're about 3 hours and 30 minutes into the new day. So as the American markets open up, technically tomorrow. For me, it's still Sunday, but tomorrow. Today on this chart, it's Monday. But when the American markets open up tomorrow, I think we will see kind of a heading as to where Bitcoin's going this week. Is it going to continue to go up or continue to go down? So I think waiting for tomorrow's market open would be indicative in that. But I'm just the way that it looks, I'm kind of under the impression that we could go up. Now, whenever we look at the 4-hour time frame, you see that we kind of have an opposite look, right? We've got this higher highs with lower highs that is hidden bearish divergence, and in a downtrend where you have highs, lower lows, that would indicate that we see continuation to the downside. And we absolutely could see that, but I mean, if this candle were to turn green, if we were to reverse this, we have 27 minutes left. I definitely won't be talking about Bitcoin for 27 more minutes. But if we were to reverse this, I mean, so what? We have hidden bearish divergence, like, you know, whatever. We got a little pullback from it immediately, and maybe that's all it is. Hidden divergences aren't as strong as regular divergences are. And they tend to mark continuation, but not always. And what I'm trying to say by that is this could have been your move from the hidden bearish divergence. Yes, the move that you'd be looking for would be a lower low technically, but it is a weaker form of divergence, at least in my opinion. You get stronger moves. If this makes sense when I say weaker, when you get classic divergence, bearish or bullish, you get much stronger moves and follow through afterwards. When you get hidden bearish or hidden bullish divergence, it's not always the strongest move. It more, I guess, depends on the overall strength of the trend rather than just this little pivotal point here. Though you can see momentary pivots because of this, if that makes any sense as well. But you are right at your 50. You are right at your 50 on the 4 hour. If you hold this area, if you can reverse and continue to climb here, and really just close the day green, I think closing today green would be a huge indication that we're done falling right there. And we are still at a 77 on the crypto fear and greed index. That is pretty damn greedy. We were at an 89 at one point, weren't we? Let's see. Let's go 7 days, I think. 88 up here. I swear it was 89, but hey, 88, whatever. Maybe I'm thinking back here. That was a 90. So, you know, we have cooled off a little bit, but we are still at extreme greed levels where that does, again, stand to reason why we could continue to go lower. So I keep throwing that back out there because you never know. You never know what's going to happen. As of this point in time right now, I am somewhat confident that the low is in, but we are at the beginning of the week. We are literally not even 3 hours into the week yet, or 4 hours. 4 hours into the week yet. A lot can happen. You know, we could start the week off to the upside, moving up, and then flip it and go red. We could start it to the downside and then flip it and go green. But it's definitely hard to say. With the way the daily looks, I'm kind of optimistic that we could have seen a bounce with yesterday's low. That's a nice bounce off of this 50 area. Let's see. Bounced off it over here, bounced off the 50, right? And you did continue higher. Now, something like this could happen where we go just a little bit higher and then come back down, but with the trajectory, with how bearish the narrative has been down here, I would expect that we would get some continuation. Like, we'd probably see 80K or higher off of this move, but it all depends, I suppose. But man, enough of the this could happen, that could happen. You know, if we're looking for prices to go higher, I think 76.5K to 80,000 are absolutely on the table in like a very short amount of time. It could be this week, next week, definitely by the end of the month is a possibility, if not the first week of April. And then if not there, potentially all the way up here at 87K to 91K. And that leads back to what I was starting the video with, which is that on this monthly look, regardless of if we go lower or not from here, okay, on this monthly look, I don't think we're going to stop, like significantly stop for a prolonged amount of time. This is buy the dip territory for sure, you guys. Not financial advice, but that's the facts there. Once we come up and hit this trend line on the monthly RSI, that's when we're really going to see a significant kind of consolidation phase. I don't think it's going to be the end of the bull market. If you remember from the beginning, of course, this was not the end of the bull market, right? The first time that we've interacted with this line was back here, not the end of the bull market, it was here. Same thing over here was the second interaction. Interaction. Should have been a second interaction, but the Bitcoin was in the middle of a bull market while the dollar was expanding in dominance against all world currencies. So the dollar was seeing immense growth and strength showing while Bitcoin was supposed to see its finale that it normally does. It didn't have the strength, not against, it's hard for it to move up while the dollar is moving up. It can happen. They do sometimes move up together and move down together, but generally speaking, when the dollar's in an expansion phase, that's not good for Bitcoin. So I very much think last cycle was hindered. So don't be scared once we hit this line. That does not mean that the cycle's done. It just means we might be on pause. And in fact, the fact that we did just run right up here without, or we're not there yet, but the fact that we've run pretty deep into the overbought zone without seeing this little fake out that we've seen in essentially every cycle we've had, I would expect that we get more than just a 1 month phase of consolidation. It probably will take 3 months to 6 months. It probably will, but we're not there yet. We've still got probably at least 2 more months, if not 3 more months. And in fact, this is something I went over in another video that I want to go over now, just one more time to kind of finish off the video on a bullish note, because yes, up or down in the immediate term, you know, I'm thinking we might have found our low at this point. I really am, but we could go lower. It is possible. And if I'm wrong on that, cool, whatever. But like month to month, this is kind of what I expect. Broke our all-time high right here. First all-time high set, right there. Bear market, whatever, short bear market, consolidation phase. Moved up, broke it right here. We continued onward technically for 2 months, okay? Technically for 2 months. We didn't find our all-time high till months later, but let's just say technically 2 months, okay? Here, all-time high set. You broke it on this month. We followed through for 1, 2, 3, 4. I wouldn't call that a top. We had some volatility, sure, but whether you want to count that a top or not, maybe that was 4 months of growth. Technically 5 months because we did find a higher high there. 5 months of growth. Let's call it 4 months of growth. If not, 6, 7, 8 months of growth, which that's what I would consider. Really 8 months, but 5 to 8 months, however you want to count that. From 2 months to 5 to 8 months, and then here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the 5th month we topped out, so 4 months there, okay? We have just broken it. We've just broken this high, right? This month. We've just done that. So I would think at least we have another 2 months, 3 months, potentially upwards to 8 months. And with the trajectory that we have on this, being that like 3 months would put us out in July, and that would I think, right, if we're in March, April, May, June, June. 3 months would put us out in June. You know, that kind of makes sense in comparison to these trajectories that we've seen previously. You know, like going until June. That's till July actually. June would be there. Like it's a pretty common trajectory. I know this one I didn't draw too properly, but I wouldn't really expect it to stop. Though if it does stop here, if we do see a red month, I would think it'd be one red month, just like it was here. That's all that was, right? February it topped off. March, it fell down, it closed red, and then it continued afterwards. So maybe that would continue there. If we did see this month close red, that'd probably just give us more time to grow. That'd give us, like, instead of 3 months from now, maybe 4 months from now. But all that lines up to me. What I'm trying to say is I think we're going to find our relative high in June or July of this year. Potentially as early as May, potentially, but I would think June or July. And we could see it later, but just with the overall trajectory of what we're seeing now and the descendants of this trend line up here, this resistance line, I don't expect that we're going to break it. We could, and maybe in the middle of the month we are above this line. We could even be above this line at some point, but by the end of the month, you know, because we top off, maybe we find a wick to the upside on the month, we come back down and we close where we're actually right at that line. So during the month, we could see prices higher than that, and that might actually be a key selling point. Is if you ever see above this line, the RSI is there, that probably means that by the end of the month it won't be there. It's just a theory. It's something that I'm going to roll with. If I'm looking to take any profits and roll it into other things, that would be when I would do it. But also, this is just for Bitcoin. You know, this is harder to say for altcoins and stuff. Oftentimes, when Bitcoin takes a break or a back seat or consolidates, that's when altcoins run. So who knows about altcoins? But this main aspect is Bitcoin. And I mean, if it does drop, if Bitcoin drops significantly, altcoins probably will see an initial sell-off as well. But again, that might be a good time to move coins around. That's all I'm trying to say. But not financial advice. None of that's financial advice. What I'm really trying to illustrate is, we could go down from here. It is absolutely possible. We could go down from here. We've seen unprecedented growth in a very unprecedented amount of time. We're overdue for a drop, but I don't know if we're ready for one yet. Personally, I don't think we're ready for one. There are a lot of people who are ridiculously bullish right now, like to a level that just it's silly. But there are a lot of people on the sidelines. There are a lot of people who've been waiting for that pullback that just never came. It just never came, man. Like even this, like really we were consolidating. People were waiting for lower lows than that, man, and it just never came. You're telling me that they bought here? Like maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe they had to buy here. They put a little bit in, but they weren't convinced. They just wanted to get some skin in the game. Like there's probably a lot of that's all speculation. I don't know, but there's a lot of people on the sidelines. Is my guess. If we look at this for what it's worth on a fib basis too, I talked about this in a previous video. Being that the Fibonacci retracement tool is kind of my tool of choice, the 618, the golden ratio area here, whenever you interact with it, what I've noticed and what I've learned is that if you break through it on the first pass, which undeniably we cut through that like butter. How I was taught, like literally word for word, is if you cut through it like butter, you are likely to go to your expected extension zones, which are anywhere from the 1618 to the 1272. Translated into price would be $103,000 to $174,000. Okay, in this box is where I think we'll be when we meet this descending top resistance trend line on the monthly RSI in this box. So what I'm trying to say is before we see significant consolidation that's more or less sustained, some downside that's more or less sustained for more than just a month, that it's going to be up there. We're going to be at six-figure Bitcoin. Now maybe we hit this and then we pull all the way back down to here. Maybe we pull back to somewhere that's halfway in between. Maybe we get above it and we just literally consolidate for a solid amount of time. Who knows? I don't think we're going to reach for this year. Personally, I don't think that, but with how clean you've broken through this, I very much am looking for this zone here between like 103,000 to 130,000 over the next, again, tying it in with the time frames, over the next 2 to 3 months, potentially 4 months, somewhere in that time. So any price drops that we see right now will be long forgotten about. They will, if you're waiting for the price to drop back, it has dropped back. It already has. It could go lower. It really could go lower. But this little 8% drop we have on Bitcoin, the 10 to 20 to 40% drops we've seen on altcoins, we've gotten a pullback. We've gotten a little bit of a pullback. And absolutely, it could go lower. But if you're not DCAing, if you're not buying this dip, and you're being patient, and you're waiting for lower prices, you might get left out. So not financial advice, but I've definitely, this is the first time I've made purchases in a couple months. I believe it's been a couple months. I've been layering into some altcoins. I will be going over that in another video, but I wanted to talk about Bitcoin mainly, not about other coins. So I hope this video was coherent. I feel like there were times where I kind of fumbled on my words, if that makes any sense, or I might have not made sense. I know what I'm trying to say. I just don't know how well I'm saying it for you to know what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense. But long story short, I do expect this, as of right now, I do expect this to be the momentary low, and we continue going higher from here. I don't have enough evidence in the charts to prove that is, or maybe not even, there's never proof, but to compellingly convince me that that's the low, I just kind of believe it in myself. That's what I believe. If I'm wrong, so what? It goes lower, we can all buy more, or just be patient. If you're already full in the markets, you don't have extra money to put in, just be patient, don't panic sell. This is not the time to sell, guys. We are before the halving still, right? If you want to play with your money, you have some play funds, like 1 to 5% of your total portfolio, you want to play with it, do what you do, whatever. None of this is financial advice anyways, but do not play with the funds that you're trying to change your life with. Do not play with those. Just let them sit. If the price drops more from here, if we go back to 57K, we drop a whole like 11 grand from here, don't panic sell. Do not play the game. You might think you're smarter than the markets, but what happens if we drop 5K from here and then that's it, 4K from here, 3K from here, we drop 8K and you're waiting for it to drop 11K. Don't play the game. Don't play the game. We're before the halving. We're too early in the cycle. We haven't even hit this upper trend line yet, not even once. And we get at least 2 normally. And I would think that we would get 2, but I don't know, man. We've got a lot left, and this is certainly looking like it's going to be a stronger cycle than the previous cycle. I suppose I'll end with that. So if you guys like this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. I very much appreciate all of you for coming. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.